Hey everybody, welcome to another toy of the day here on KastorsCorner.com. I'm your host Cleo, and you can go to KastorsCorner.com for a full archive as well as gallery of all the toys that we talk about here on this channel. You can follow us. We are at Kastor's Corner. You can get one of these fun shirts for yourself. On all the links are below. And check out the Cornercast podcast, usually every Monday night. Again, with our little mascot just not doing well, recording has been a challenge. So I appreciate everybody understanding last night's video, just being the video component. That was just about the energy I had. We're going to work on some galleries today while he's resting and continue to just try to bring you toy of the day through our 365 goal. My 365 goal. So we celebrated Batman Day last night with looking at the Batman 66 line from Mcfarlane Toys. And so today, they not only did that, but they also did a Batmobile for these guys. So we're going to take a look at the Batmobile today. Just from inspection, just looking at it like this, it looks really cool. It's when you start to kind of pull apart some of the details that you start to kind of see some of the shortcomings. Now, I think what's important to understand is I'm looking at, this is not necessarily a dig, but I'm looking at these new 66 items from Mcfarlane as a value line. For those of you that don't want to go down and track down the Mattel ones, who want a more complete collection than NECA was able to provide, and who didn't want to do the 5-point, they wanted something a little bit larger, so they didn't want to do the Mezco one. This really seems like a value line, with the figures being under $20, the Batmobile and Batcave being under $40. It is a value line for something that a lot of us never had growing up. Those of you that watched it when it was live in 66, and then those of us who grew up on it in syndication throughout the years and gets a second life on DVD or Blu-ray or digital. So, so what do you have here? So the Batmobile itself looks on inspection really good. There's not a lot of paint detail to it. If you look on the inside of it, the dashboard is pretty much just plastic. It doesn't, like, it has the bump outs, but there's no detailing on the plastic itself. Steering wheel does not move. It can fit 2 characters, which it should. It has, the under detailing that most cars do for this kind of toy. Wheels do spin, and they are rubber, so they've got some give to them. They've got some feel. They're not just a hard plastic that's going to scratch up or take a lot of scuffs on. So you don't have to worry about that as far as collecting goes. These pieces, the fins on the top, are very soft plastic, so when I got mine was completely bent over, and it's starting to retake its shape a little bit, but you can see how right here it's kind of to the side, so it does do that. It's got the little middle piece here, the little antenna there, and just overall aesthetically looks good. Where things start to kind of, you look at it and go, okay, so what's wrong with it? Well, the glass pieces on the front are meant to kind of protect them from wind, like you would see in a race car. And what happens though is when you put Batman in there, this is how far seated above the window he is. And so he does not really fit in the car, to be honest with you. And because of the position that I talked about with the elbows yesterday, he kind of can't get right in position. And so that's a little bit better. But again, how far his head is up above the window. So that's a little bit awkward. And you would think, well, Robin's a little bit shorter. He should look a little bit better. And unfortunately, he suffers the same fate. A little bit better, slightly better. But again, above the window. So that's where you kind of run into that idea of, like, it is a value line. It is a good display line. So having them stand next to the car, I think would be fine. Having them in the car, it definitely looks like these were designed and I hate to say it this way because I don't really think McFarlane is doing things like that where they're not designing with the collectors in mind. But there are these moments where you look at the lines and you go, oh, well, it just doesn't line up right. It just doesn't fit right. And so what I did was I was able to literally dust off, because I have not touched this thing in years. And now this is the Mattel version. So this is the Mattel one. This is the McFarlane one. And you can see the Mattel one is definitely, I do this on camera, so nose to nose, you can see that the McFarlane one here is definitely shorter than the Mattel one. The Mattel one definitely has a lot more painted detail in the cabin. I don't think we've ever done a review of this one, actually. So there's a lot more painted detail in the cabin. The license plate and turbine back here is a little bit more detailed to the actual car itself. These plastic fins are similar in plastic, but they don't hold... they're holding their shape better. And so we're going to fit our Batman and Robin into this car and see the differences here. They're not as thin, I will say that. So the Mattel Batman and Robin are much thinner, so they are much easier to get into place. But you can see Batman here is definitely within that shield. The cowl sticks out just slightly if you were looking at it straight on, but his face itself does fit much better. And Robin also just kind of goes right in, and that looks so much better. So if you're able to get the Mattel one, it does fit scale much better with this Batman and Robin. They look great inside of it, I will say that. These two look so much better than the Mattel versions of Batman and Robin, and I think the Mattel car is a better value for you if you're a big collector. The painted details, and McFarlane's talked about this, in order to keep the cost lower for the consumer, the amount of paint strikes on a vehicle or deco choices on a vehicle or figure are dictated by the price point. So we've seen him say that with the Spawn line, where you can go get the deluxe one that's, $40 or $50, and you're going to get a lot more painted detail on the back and on the front of the character and on the belt and all that things. When you go down to the $20 price point or $25 price point, the paint detail, deco detailing is a lot lower. So I think that's one of the things to consider, is that you are getting this as a little bit of a value line, in my opinion. It is fine for display. This would look great as a display piece with the two of them standing outside of it. That's not the issue. It's for the play value and some of the posing issues. This doesn't stand up. So do I think it's a bad thing? No. I would look, even at $40, I jumped at this, and I don't feel like I need to return it. It's definitely staying here. It definitely is staying in the collection, and I'm happy I have it. Same thing with the Batcave. I've seen some of the pictures, and I don't have it yet, but I know it's a little bit smaller for this line. I don't feel cheated by that. I understand where we are economically for buying these things. But if you've got both lines, and I did buy, I really love 66, so I did buy the 5 points. So when the 5 points come in, I think that Batcave is going to look great with my 5 points figures. So it's, this is one of the collections that you kit bash, that you kind of get pieces from different things and you put them together and you get the best of the best. So I think that that's going to be really interesting, and I'm really curious to see what the 5 points Batmobile looks like next to these two Batmobiles. So here's the McFarlane 66 Batmobile. I'll put up pictures on the website. You can check out pictures. We're going to do pictures of Batman and Robin too, so you can go back and check out that review as well. Follow us. We are at Kastor's Corner. You can check out some of our merch. Check out the Cornercast podcast every Monday night on Apple Podcasts or wherever podcasts are found. And subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate all the support and new visitors. The more of you that subscribe, the more cool things we get to do, and then we get to share them with you. And a special thank you to all of you that have been reaching out all week to checking on our little furry friend. He's recovering, and we're optimistic, but we're not out of the woods yet. So thank you all for checking in and sending your thoughts and prayers and love. It has not been lost on us. It's really gotten me through a lot of this week. So thank you all. And we'll see you tomorrow night for another Toy of the Day here on CastorsCorner.com.